That mountain behind me is called Lord Hereford's Knob. And today I'm going to be eating a chicken tikka masala on top of it, except there is a problem. This is still frozen, but by the time I get to the top of that mountain, it's going to be fully cooked, and I'll have done absolutely nothing except put it inside what's inside here, the Luncheaze. This has to be one of my favourite gadgets of 2024 already. It's got some huge implications, not just for eating chicken tikka masala on top of Lord Hereford's Knob, a sentence that has never been said in the history of humankind ever before, but I think it's got some implications for your wallet and your pockets, because this thing can save you an absolute fortune. But bear with me, I'll come back to that in a little bit, because for now I want to show you how it works. With the food in a Luncheaze container, you open up the top of the Luncheaze device, revealing a metal heating plate and a section to place the Luncheaze box into. Being stainless steel, this box is ideal for conducting the heat from this plate to evenly heat the food inside. Once clasped firmly in, you can boot the Luncheaze up, which gives you a simple menu system that allows you to start heating immediately to a certain temperature or a set time that you'd like to eat. Once selected, put it back in the bag and come back to it in a little while. I better start clambering up Lord Hereford's Knob. See you up there. With the clock ticking, and whilst I set off on a grueling 2-hour hike, let's go back to the country club so I can tell you why I'm in love with this gadget and why it could make the list for the best gadget of 2024. So now you know what this is and what it does. The real question is, why might you need one? Well, it's certainly not for everyone, although there are a lot of reasons why you might want one, including the savings that this could give you. But the most obvious reason to have one of these is for those that are working outdoors or in jobs that don't provide access to kitchens. You might not know, but once upon a time I was an archaeologist, which entailed being out in the sodden waterlogged fields in the driving rain for 8 hours a day, scraping at dirt down a 6-foot hole, often in temperatures that would make Wim Hof shiver. Now I swear that I would have probably killed a man for one of these if Luncheaze had been around about 15 years ago. And that's because instead of wet, cold sandwiches that had been squashed into the bottom of my bag, I could have had a warm, cooked lunch to heat myself back up, ready for the afternoon of whatever terrifying weather awaited me in the middle of British winter. On some rare occasions, we were excavating relatively near a place that you could buy hot food or lunch instead. But here's where the huge benefit comes in. It will save you an absolute fortune. I think this is possibly one of the best money-saving gadgets I've ever reviewed. Let's say you buy a nice helping of Thai green curry from a Thai takeaway. That's going to cost you, let's say, near £10 a day to do that 5 times a week. Do that 4 weeks in the month and just drop 200 quid on lunches whilst at work. Compare this to a homemade curry that you could make in big batches and then divvy up between multiple Luncheaze boxes. Stick them in the fridge and you'll easily spend about £2.50 or less a day. And if we crunch those numbers, it's very possible that the Luncheaze could save you a staggering £1,800 per year on your lunch bill, which is unbelievable. And the thing is, the lunchboxes that are made for the Luncheaze are an ideal shape and size for meal prep for the entire week. Just simply pull them out of your fridge, drop them into the Luncheaze, tell it to heat up for your lunchtime, and you're done. Every day, a hot meal for your lunch, and it will cost you a fraction of the price of eating out. Now, for those who are about to say, well, my work provides me with a microwave. Well, in every place that I've worked, including the decade I worked for Apple, there was about 1 microwave per 100 people. If just 5 of those people wanted to use it on a lunch break, each heating their food for 3 minutes, in addition to the further 3 minutes that you'll need to wait for your own food to be heated up, you're waiting a total of 17 minutes, give or take. And that is if no one is faffing around at all. If you only have a 30-minute lunch break, that means you've just got 13 minutes left to wolf down whatever you superheated, which will undoubtedly melt your mouth or mean you can't eat it in time, and you'll likely have some overzealous manager breathing down your neck when the clock ticks to 31 minutes
forcing you to bin whatever you haven't been able to eat. The Luncheaze just means that you can start a shift, key in your lunchtime, shove it in your locker, and by the time you get round to your lunch, it's fully heated through, skipping any waiting lines and chowing down on a delicious curry whilst you watch your esteemed colleagues miserably queue up for the microwave. Despite these quite clear benefits to using the Luncheaze, I must admit that at first I had my doubts, specifically when it came to cooking, which I don't do very often, albeit because my wife cooks most of our food. But whenever I'm left to fend for myself, I have a little voice in the back of my head that constantly screams, "You haven't heated this food enough. You're gonna get botulism and you're gonna die of the plague." Does anyone else have that voice, or is it just me? Anyway, my fears were that the Luncheaze just wasn't going to sufficiently heat up my food properly, but having extensively tested it out, all of those fears have been quashed completely, considering that this is capable of heating food up to 105 degrees, which is 35 degrees over the recommended heating temperature to kill bacteria. So I actually have no concerns here when it comes to the heating. Thing is, it's so warm, it's capable of defrosting and heating frozen dinners too, just like my chicken tikka, currently on its way up the side of a Welsh mountain. But this means that you can always pick something up from the shop on the way to work and stick it in a Luncheaze to defrost and cook for your lunch, which is absolutely bloody marvellous. Yes, that might be a little bit more expensive than making something yourself, but often it'll still be much cheaper than buying a pre-cooked meal. And talking about cooking food, I think it's probably about time we head back to the mountainside to find out just how well it was able to heat my frozen chicken tikka masala and have an outdoor feast.
Oh my God, that was much more of a walk than I thought it would be. Let's have a look. Oh, the top is nice and steamed up. It feels warm as well. What I really like about this is that it's obviously insulated. So once it kind of reaches temperature, it has to work a lot less to keep that heat in. Oh, yes. Now I'm going to leave it in here because it does get a bit hot on the bottom of this because it's steel. Ooh. Oh my God, that smells. I've forgotten a spoon. Shit! No, I've got it here. It was in the back of my bag. Oh my God, this looks delicious. That is incredible. And do you know what? I haven't had to carry a stove, a gas bottle, pans and pots and implements to cook this. I've literally just carried a box, like a lunchbox, like I normally carry, and it's heated it up all for me, ready for a lovely meal on the top. This kind of thing is just superb and I absolutely love it. Yes, of course, it's quite big and you probably will never want to carry it up the side of a mountain. It's a bit impractical, but I've merely done this just to show you that you can. So, excuse me while I finish the rest of my chicken tikka. See you in a bit.
So there you have it. It's a fantastic little device that can revolutionise your lunches out and about. And although you might not be using it for quite such an event as taking it up a mountain, it's such an incredible piece of kit. Why would you not? Now, we must talk about the price. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. I don't know if it's a relatively new type of device or not, but I'm kicking myself that I'm only just finding out about this type of technology now. But because of my lack of experience with this type of technology, I didn't know what to expect when I came to the price. So imagine my surprise when I found out that this, without discount, is £195. Although it was on a rather large discount when I checked, so it would be worth taking a look at the link in the description to find out its current price because the discount was actually very good. But On the subject of its RRP, at first I thought this was rather a high price, and I still think it's a high price on the surface. As I mentioned earlier, after sitting down and crunching the numbers and taking a look at the possible savings this could make you, it kind of seems like a no-brainer. It would literally pay for itself after just a month of usage instead of buying takeaway food for your lunches. Even if you bought frozen meals on the way to work, it would only be a couple of months at most until you start seeing the returns. It's just a really well-designed product, and there's only a couple of small criticisms I have of the whole experience, and that's the fact that I kind of wish here that they'd used USB-C on the back instead of a DC adapter to charge it. If they'd used USB-C, it would have made it easier to charge on the go, as nearly everything uses USB-C these days. As it stands, if you're going away for a few days, then you'll have to take yet another plug adapter, and nobody likes that, especially when we're so close to that one adapter world, with Apple making the crossover to USB-C recently. I guess if I was being really nitpicky, then maybe a little bit of a spruce up on the software for the next iteration would be nice. It's quite brutalist as it is, and for those old enough to remember live television, it sort of reminds me of teletext. But on the flip side, it's super functional and minimalist, and it does exactly what it says on the tin and nothing more. So in that sense, I respect and admire it for wanting to do nothing more than what it's supposed to do. Perhaps the only other criticism, and this isn't really anyone's fault, is that if I, God forbid, forgot to heat my lunch up in the Luncheaze, you're not able to just take the lunchbox as it is and microwave it due to their steel construction. Ultimately, this is steel, as the heating plate inside the main unit would probably just melt plastic. So the steel construction is a necessary factor for the Luncheaze, so not so much of a criticism, but more of a consideration that you'll need to make. That said, the boxes are dishwasher safe, which is an extremely good thing because I hate washing up, and they'll probably last a lot longer than boxes that are completely plastic. These might actually keep their shape and not release harmful microplastics into your food. Now, the fact that these are my only criticisms about the experience should say a lot about how much I like this product. I truly think that even if you aren't using this to replace eating out, the flexibility to have heated and cooked food for your lunch wherever you are, whether that's in an office watching all of your colleagues queue up for the microwave or on top of a mountain in the heart of Wales, is something rather special. And for that reason, this is already one of my favourite gadgets of 2024, and we aren't even a quarter of the way in yet. What do you guys think? Did you know this type of tech existed, or is this the first time that you're hearing about it too? I want to hear your thoughts on the Luncheaze, so make sure you drop down to the comments and leave a message. I'll be replying to everyone's comments over the next hour or so do drop down there and say hi. And if you like fun gadgets that you've never seen before, why not take a look at our episode on the Hover Air drone, a fully autonomous, pocket-sized drone that's piloted by AI. Other than that, guys, I'll see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon.